The fact that it was called the Columbia, it can be very significant because just very quickly, talking about the symbolism, back in Babylon, they worshipped a trinity of Nimrod, the father, Ninos Tammuz, the son, and the third point of the Babylonian trinity was a female called Queen Semiramis. They used to symbolize Queen Semiramis as a dove. When they moved their headquarters from Babylon to Rome, they used to worship Queen Semiramis there under the name Venus the Dove. Venus the Dove was, pronounced Venus Columba. Columba meaning dove. The French for dove even today is columba. So when a guy called Colon crossed the Atlantic to discover the Americas, history has called him Columbus, Columba, Semiramis. And when you look at the way that the Babylonians symbolize Queen Semiramis, it is a mirror of the Statue of Liberty. And the Statue of Liberty was given to New York by French Freemasons in Paris who knew what it really symbolized, which was the Babylonian goddess. And what is she holding? She's holding the lighted torch, the classic symbol of the Illuminati, the illuminated ones. Now, as these bloodlines moved up through Europe, as I talked about earlier, they went massively through France and centered in France to a very large extent. And therefore, if you look at the symbol of the French Republic, what they call the goddess of the French Republic, which you can see all over Paris, it's another mirror of Queen Semiramis, the Babylonian goddess, because we're talking the same group. And on an island in the River Seine in Paris, just down from the Eiffel Tower and the Pont d'Alma tunnel where they killed Diana, is a mirror image. It's extraordinary when you stand there on the side of the river. I was there a few months ago. A mirror image of the Statue of Liberty in the middle of the River Seine. Why? Because that is their image of the Babylonian goddess, and in New York you've got the American image of the Babylonian goddess. And what they do is they work with reverse symbolism. So if something in mainstream society is white, it will be black. They'll portray it as black. If it's black, they'll portray it as white. So what you have is classic reverse symbolism in New York Harbor, because Americans understandably think that's the symbol of the land of the free, when actually it's the reverse of that is the symbol of the people controlling the prison.
But over the last 20 years, there's been demonstrably, blatantly, obviously, a fantastic awakening, and it's getting faster and faster all the time. I first of all noticed a big change after 9/11. Although the vast majority of people bought the official line, there was something about it that started to get others to think and come off the fence. And when the weapons of mass destruction were not found in Iraq, it was almost like a confirmation. You know, people talk about, well, you must never believe what the government says, you must never believe what the media says, but so many people just go ahead and do that. And the lack of weapons of mass destruction in Iraq were like somebody reminding you, see, look, governments lie. And after 2003 and all that, this awakening, this questioning of the world, this questioning of authority got more and more blatant. And as the police state and the Orwellian state is breaking the surface ever more obviously, it's getting more and more people to see the world in a way that they wouldn't have done before, and it's getting faster and faster, and it's a great time to be doing what we're doing, putting this information out, and it's very, very encouraging. The whole conspiracy is founded on keeping humanity in a very, very low level of perception about self, perception about the world. This is why we have the dumbing down of education. This is why we have the controlled so-called information that comes through the media. The idea is to keep people in ignorance of anything that would be a problem to the control system. So we're kept in ignorance about the nature of reality itself, the nature of life itself, who we are, where we are, what we're doing here. We're kept in ignorance of the the true forces that are manipulating behind the people we see in the public arena, like we had 8 years of Bush, who was blatantly just a figurehead signing his name on the legislation, and he's been replaced by Obama, who is another blatant figurehead doing the same, controlled by the same force ultimately that controlled Bush. Now all these connections have to be kept from people so that we behave and perceive the world and everything in the way that suits the control system. So any awakening, any opening of the mind to see things that people didn't see before is a real big problem for the conspiracy, for the manipulators. And what we're seeing now, as more and more people are awakening, is almost a panic-stricken attempt to put the lid on this, to dumb people down. This is why it's so important to get across, for people to realize what the nature of this reality is that we're experiencing. This is quite provably, when you look at the science, it's obvious. We live in a virtual reality universe. It's like a three-dimensional holographic version of the internet. If you go on the internet in Australia or South Africa or South America or Los Angeles, you're all accessing the same collective reality through the computer. Well, we in our prime state are consciousness, not form, but awareness. And this awareness experiences this tiny frequency range we call this world, just a tiny frequency range called visible light, through a interface called body-mind. If I want to go on the internet, I can't just go on the internet. I have to have a conduit to go on the internet, a computer. And even then, I don't go on the internet. The computer does. I observe the internet through the computer. This is what consciousness, awareness, the real eternal self that these religious teachings talk about, etc., and non-religious teachings too, talk about. This eternal self. Some people call it soul, whatever you want to call it. And if you hold that awareness to that higher level of self, you're in this world, if you like, physically and experiencing it, but your point of observation is outside of this manipulated reality. And through the lens of body-mind, you can see things that the body-mind in this world and of it cannot see. And the more the system, when you study it, from cradle to grave, be it education, media, all these things, they're all, even religion to a large extent, is designed to pull our focus of attention into body-mind. It's the same. A very good analogy is you're on the internet and suddenly the computer takes control of what you think of the internet, where you go on the internet, and the decisions you make. And the more entrapped you are in mind-body perception, i.e. the five senses, and look at society, it's all about pulling us into the five senses. Look at this, listen to this, taste this, feel this, all trying to hold us in the five senses. The more entrapped you are, the longer it takes, the more powerful the transformation has to be for you to wake up, open your mind, and go to higher levels of your awareness.